Hello, ladies.
Yes, good evening.
Hey, 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 hey.
Let me pull my chair up for this.
Happy
And we're back
Wednesday.
for another episode on Real Chill Conversations.
Yes.
Last week, we had an episode about abortion and Roe versus Wade. So please, if you haven't watched that, go back to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and you'll be able to watch it.
Yep.
But today, we have Natalie in the building.
Hey, thank
You
you.
got the floor.
Thank you. Yes, so this evening we are going to be talking about healthcare inequalities. So I want, I like to take it back. I like to do a little history and then bring it in. So I know everybody, we've all been to the doctors and sometimes we felt rushed. I know I have. I don't know who else can relate, but speaking on personally, I've felt rushed. I've been to the doctor and they say, oh, you can only talk about one problem per visit. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Do I have to come back? Do I have to reschedule? I'm trying to get everything taken care of. So a lot of times we discuss these inequalities and it's widespread. I feel like for these reasons, this is the main cause of people having distrust with doctors, physicians, and then we have a large group of people that don't like to go at all. I know vaccinations lately have been a major talk of the town. Who's going, who's getting it, who's not getting it, and it's creating a divide, not just racially, but within races as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about this deeper sense of distrust. And when I mentioned history, I wanted to take it back to a time where they did a Tuskegee experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So in this, I was reading, it said basically that a group of people, I want to say it was over 400 people, they were experimented on by their local physicians, where actually injected with syphilis, which is a venereal disease.
Yep.
This happened in Alabama back in the 1930s.
Yep.
So fast forward to today, my grandpa, he's actually lived in Alabama all his life. He was supposed to have hip surgery 12 years ago. He's just now getting it done in January. So when I think of things like the Tuskegee experiment, and then I think about my grandpa who lived through those times in that state, was that something that caused him to be afraid of the doctors and going, and getting that surgery that really helped him out that he could have had over a decade ago? So I want us to talk about different things like that we've seen, that not only we've personally have experienced, but maybe other people around us we've observed, how they were treated, whether it be women in pregnancy or whether it be just anybody not wanting to go and have a checkup, get blood work drawn, and all of those things. The dentist, I know, is kind of scary. I've seen movies where it's like a
Yeah.
horror film of going to the dentist. So have you guys ever had an experience at the dentist where you feel like your concerns weren't taken seriously, or you were just kind of rushed through?
Very much. Excuse me. Very much so. Unfortunately, and speaking of the dentist, I actually have an appointment for oral surgery this Friday, and
Wow.
I've been holding this thing off for as long as I possibly could. But my issue was that I went to the dentist about an issue I've been having. I have TMJ. So if you don't know what that is, it's a temporal mandible joint. You're in your jaw, and you are a person that grinds their teeth or you clench your teeth, and most of the time you do it in your sleep, or you might do it when you're stressed and you don't realize that you're doing it. So years and years ago, like after my braces came off and I had all my orthodontia done, I was supposed to sleep with these night guards to help with my TMJ. And just over the years and getting busy and all that, I stopped wearing them. So I was started clenching again. And it got to the point where I had cracked teeth in the back. So the dentist was like, you're going to need to have crowns put on these back teeth. We can't fill them. We can't put a bonding over them. We can't do that. So I did that and the crowns failed. So, these crowns are expensive. It's
Oh yeah.
like $1,800. It's like $2,000 for each
Yeah.
one. And I had to have two done.
Mm.
I had to have another two done. So I'm having another procedure to fix these teeth in the back from my TMJ. And I did finally get the appliance, the night guard to wear so that I'm not waking up like with headaches and stiffness of the joint and all of that. But the dentist at the time like was not listening to me. And had I been heard the first time, then it wouldn't have escalated to the point of me having fractured back teeth and then having to come out of pocket, $4,000 for a repair that could have been taken care of months prior. And I said, with this new dentist that I'm with, I said, like, I had a really, really, really bad experience. And so I'm really like hesitant. And he was like, Brenna, we'll go at your pace. We'll do it. This is the plan that we have outlined. So they went over everything, like what the finances were and all of that. And the other place didn't do that. They were just like, here's your bill.
I'm not gonna lie. I've worked in the healthcare industry, and just like with anything, it's like, when it comes to people's health, people are sick, they need a little extra tender love and care. And there are people that are on the job, because I've worked with people that weren't really nurturing type of people. So it's like you get a strong character, someone with a strong personality, and it's just like you need someone that is being, soft and gentle, and seeing what's genuine, and seeing what's really the issue. You can do that, quickly. You don't have to take all day, but just putting that little extra concern and care really goes a long way. Because, like I said, I have seen people in the healthcare industry that are just, they're just there for a check. It's like with anything else. There are people that are in it they have ulterior motives.
Yeah, and I think that's, when you link healthcare with the finance aspect of it, and like what's the amount that I have to pay, what's not covered by insurance. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that's covered, especially when you're talking about dental insurance. I mean, even if you have dental insurance, it's usually like those major procedures are covered maybe at 50%. If you're lucky, it's 80%. But the resulting crowns that you need, that's 50%. And then you meet your maximum amount of coverage that you're getting for the year, which I think is like, in most cases, they give you like $2,500 or $3,000. But if you need two crowns done, then you've already met your maximum deductible. Like, insurance is not going to pay for anything else. It really is just there, in my opinion, to cover your basic exams and your cleanings and your x-rays, and that's it. And if you need a filling or two, then maybe you're good. But if you need any major work done, then it's not really of benefit. And then that's why they talk about, oh, you can open a care credit. You can open 0% finance. You can finance this. You can take out a loan. Here's these lenders that you can go to cover your procedure. And it's like, who wants to go into debt to take care of something in regards to their health? And they talk about, the whole connection with your body and your mouth, and, bacteria from your gums, like getting into your bloodstream and getting into your heart. And it's, it's like, it's a significant thing, but it's also significantly expensive. And so I think a lot of times nobody wants to spend that money, so they just don't do it.
Yeah,
until it start hurting, and then you just gotta get it pulled.
And then and then you just gotta pull.
That was like my situation a while back, years back, but I didn't have no dental insurance, and my tooth. I mean, I knew something. I knew that my fill-in had came out, but it wasn't hurting me then. So I just let it go by, because again, I didn't have no dental insurance. But then I got dental insurance. There's a waiting period that you have to wait before you can actually go and take advantage of it.
Mm.
So I had to wait. Excuse me. I had to wait months, like probably
Wow.
1 month, probably like 1 month. But by that time, my tooth was already, I was already in pain.
Yeah.
So I had to go and they just had to extract it because at the end of the day, like you were saying, some people do lack that, like dental is expensive
Mhm.
Hmm.
and they want you to get crowns and crowns are expensive.
Yeah.
So where do they want all this money to come from? But I feel like dental should be emergency, and I don't think they should charge people for that. You know how bad it hurts.
Oh yeah, that's your whole head. I was going to
Yeah.
say that. Let's think about the people that don't even have insurance to get that break at all. The percentage is just not there. When I was working in dental, we had a sliding scale where we would base it. If people didn't have insurance, we would base it off of their income. So they would
Mm.
just have to go get the wage inquiry form, and they were, able to base it off of that. So that was a good incentive that people can use if they don't have insurance. But really, all this stuff comes with research. If you don't know what,
Yeah.
a last minute you get a toothache and you have to hurry up and do something, you're more than likely going to come out of pocket if you don't already know about these resources. Because once it's here, it's like, oh, you got to get that fixed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like the resources, like people tell you where you could do this, you could do that. But when I went and looked, I didn't see any resources because all of them were basically charging. Nobody was going to be for free.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially if it's an emergency
So
type
that's a
situation.
very bad disadvantage.
Yeah. Yeah. It's rough.
But
It really is.
I did wanted to touch on this, Natalie, because I know you mentioned it with your topic about pregnancy in the Black community um, when it comes to women. So I was looking at this survey. It was like not a survey, but it was a study, and it showed that every 100,000 live births, 37 Black women died while pregnant or within a 6 week of pregnancy.
Hmm.
So I was listening about Black mothers were reporting and being dismissed by medical professionals. So if they had something going on with their pregnancy or they thought something wasn't right, you know, the doctor would be like, "Oh, you
Wait it.
know what we doing?" You know, there was a lady, which was Miss Williams, who told Vogue back in 2018 that she could have died after a C-section when she recognized she had a blood clot in her lungs,
Mm.
and nobody took it serious.
Yeah. I know there's also the case of Judge Hatchett's daughter-in-law who passed away after giving birth, and her son and Judge Hatchett actually sued the medical professionals because the mother, after giving birth, was hemorrhaging, and she kept complaining to the doctors, and the husband kept saying, like, she's bleeding, she's in pain, she's bleeding, she's in pain, she's bleeding, she's in pain. And they're like, she just had a baby, she just had a baby, like, she's going to be in pain, she's going to bleed, this is all
Mhm.
normal. So they dismissed it all, and she wound up passing away. She wound up losing her life.
I remember that story. I didn't know that was Judge Hatchett's family. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was her daughter-in-law. And so, the rise of death in or the recognition of death in Black women in pregnancy is rather significant, especially as the numbers for C-sections have gone up. Doctors don't want to wait around anymore for you to deliver your baby naturally. They want to go ahead and get it scheduled so that they can perform the procedure. They can bill your insurance company 25 grand, and they can be out of there. And unfortunately, doing that and not waiting on a woman to let her body do what it's intended to do naturally and force feeding her a C-section instead of being patient enough to wait for her to deliver that baby has caused these increase in these deaths. And the risks with C-sections are significant. Unfortunately, my last baby was an emergency C-section type situation. And I also was hemorrhaging, and it was not a pleasant situation. It got to the point where they're like, we're going to need to give you blood. Like if you don't start clotting. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I've never been in this situation before. I delivered my other two kids naturally. This is a new situation, and it was an emergency. So it's not like I had time to plan and say, oh, on August 2nd at 10 o'clock, I'm going in to deliver my baby. It was like, we got to go, and we got to go now.
Wow.
So it was frightening. It was frightening. And the after effects with not being listened to, again, I told the doctors I was in significant pain and that I could not breathe. They just dismissed it and said, you just had a C-section. We've cut through muscles. It's going to hurt. It's going to be painful. They did not listen. And I complained to my doctor for a week straight. And I finally went in to see them, and they listened to me. They took my blood pressure and they sent me straight to the emergency room and called over to the emergency room. And then it turned out that I had double lung pneumonia.
No way.
Oh my God.
Yes. So me saying that I couldn't breathe, like if it had continued, then I would have lost my life from double lung pneumonia. Like
But they would dismiss it. Like,
Yep.
oh, it's nothing going on. Like, you're fine.
Yeah,
No, I'm telling you.
They just thought I wanted pain medicine because I was complaining about how much pain that I was in. They're like, "Ma'am, we've given you pain medicine." I'm like, it's not even about the pain medicine. Like, I can't breathe.
Right.
Yeah, I always wondered when I see things saying Black women are 3 times more likely to die in childbirth. I always wondered, like, is it because we have different health implications, or like what is the cause of this?
Well, the study said
Oh,
that it was because medical doctors were dismissing
yeah.
like their concerns.
If we're not
That was just based on the
biologically,
study.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Because we're not, at the end of the day, it's not that we're biologically different.
Exactly.
It's just that they're just dismissing people.
And so they're overlooking symptoms and delaying treatment. And this delay in treatment is then causing further illness, further damage, further, cases that are leading up to people losing their lives because of that. That it's the, being dismissive of the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot just assume because someone is of a particular race that they are just seeking pain medication, or they're just being, what is it? Hyper. When I can't think of the word. When you're constantly worried about being sick all the time. Shoot, I can't think of the word.
Brenna, y'all.
It's
I
not.
don't know the word either.
I was gonna say germophobic, but that's not it.
No, it starts with an H.
Anybody want to help Brenna?
Word of the day.
Word of the day. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna find it. Continue on, y'all.
Let's talk about health in the Black community with Black men. Some men rather do anything else but go to the doctor. Why do you all think they do that?
I want to say it's that distrust. It all boils back down to things that they've heard. Things that they heard. And back to when I was working in the medical, I would think I was in pediatrics. And it's like a large group of people, especially within the Muslim community, they don't believe in vaccinations. Like when it's school time, they're not getting their kids vaccinated. So I think it all stems to like a deeper, just something deeper than what just meets the eye, because if
I
you have tattoos, you had to get a tattoo by the needle. So what's the difference in getting a tattoo and going getting some blood work done? Even if you feel fine on the outside, on the inside, certain things could be, going on. We don't know. So it's better to know, just go and, get it over with, do whatever you got to do, a little mouth swab, a little whatever culture, and just put it behind you, because instead of walking around like, damn, am I good? Am I eating right? Am I, I was a little more winded going up those stairs yesterday than normal, or, just go
mm-hmm.
get it checked out. Hopefully you have your insurance. When the top of the year, usually open enrollment is the top of the year, right? So there are outlets to
Yeah.
get free
I
insurance where you can at least go and do a little checkup.
I know men who have said, have been hurting and in pain and everything. They'll be like, "Oh man, I'll tough it out.
Right.
I don't need to go." And I think that has been the mentality as well for so long. And that's probably one of the reasons men don't feel like they need to go to the doctor and they can like tough it out themselves. Hey,
Mm.
Edwina.
Hey guys. Sorry,
Hey.
sorry I came late. My internet connection is not the best here. I'm out of town.
So before I lose it, I looked it up. It's being a hypochondriac is the word.
Ah.
That was funny. Being a hypochondriac, when you're like overly concerned with your symptoms and you just are convinced that something is wrong with you, that you've got a disease or something like that, doctors dismiss you being vocal about your symptoms as you being a hypochondriac.
I would have never guessed that word.
Yeah.
Never.
It was on the tip of my tongue. I know. I was like, was it H something? But I was like, I don't know the rest of it.
I haven't heard that in so long.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. And as far as the men are concerned, there's a big push. There has been a big push for many years at this point now. I want to say it's like 10 years, ever since there was like a rise in colon cancer and prostate cancer. And, so they were advising men as well as women, but really there was this push for men to get their colonoscopies done and to make sure that they got a prostate exam done when they went for their annual doctor's appointments. And I think a lot of men are not wanting to get that prostate exam because of what it involves, but it's something that's quick and it's easy. And us women, when we go to the gynecologist, I mean, we have to be checked, and that checking does involve penetration of sorts. But men don't want to go through that to have their prostate gland checked. Instead, they're walking around with prostate cancer, which could have been caught much sooner and earlier had they gone forward with that exam. Or they have stage 4 colon cancer, when if they had gotten their colonoscopies on a regular basis, all of that could have been monitored and checked and kept under control, and not, happened to be found out until it's too late, until they're in so much pain and so much agony that they're then rushed to the hospital in a crisis. And then during that hospitalization, they get the news that they have, a chronic illness or some type of disease.
And they also said, Brenna, that in general, the lowest Black men do have the lowest life expectancy of all.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you said with the prostate cancer risk at 74%. And that was 3 years ago.
Yeah. 74% is high. That's an extremely high number. When you think about how many you take Black men, put 10 Black men in a room and think about how many of them have the potential for developing prostate cancer, that's a really high number.
Yeah. But you know what, Brenna, and ladies, I don't think a lot of African American men think of that. Like when we talk about going to the doctor and getting checked, I know with my ex, when I say go get checked, he will automatically assume, oh, well, you're good. They don't even think of getting checked for their prostate. They think of, oh, is it like a STD, something like that. They don't even think about their own personal health. When you say you should go to the hospital and get checked, they're like, well, you good, I'm good. It's like, no, not like that. But just for your own personal health. Like Natalie said, you going up the stairs and it's taking you longer than what you expect, or if you have like pain in your knee, they don't think about that. The only time an African American man will go to the hospital if it's like something like deadly, like an STD. I hate
Getting
to say it like
shot
that.
or something.
Huh? Yeah, or if they get shot, they will not
Yeah.
go, on their own.
Or
And
they're
that's what
having
I
a heart
have
attack. They're
noticed.
in the midst of a heart
Mhm.
attack and
Right.
they
Yeah,
get rushed
yeah,
to the hospital.
or like you said, or just having a heart attack when you knew you were having chest pains all alone, and you still decided to pick up a cheeseburger and eat it. You see,
But I
you
know
know,
some also don't go because it's like the hospital bills is just crazy, and
And all the tests that they have to run, those tests are
I don't,
expensive.
I don't think it's more of about the bill. I think it's just more of a fear. A fear.
it
Okay, if
is
I
a
go in
fear
here
too. Yeah.
for if I go in the hospital to get checked for my chest pains, will I make it out alive,
Yeah.
or they're gonna take my organs and sell them? Because
Mm,
that has been going around in the Black community. That's the first thing you say. Don't go to the hospital. They're gonna sell your organs.
right.
I hate to say it like that, but it's true. That's what we have on this podcast is a real chill conversation. We're telling the truth, and that's why a lot of people don't. They don't want to go to the hospital because they don't know if they're gonna make it back home alive.
Yeah.
Even with this
So
COVID situation, I think it took a lot for the
yeah.
Black community to actually say, you know what, I'm going to take this vaccine. By the way, I have not took no vaccine, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
some people have, and I mean, they were trying to see how they could push the Black community to take the vaccine
Mhm.
for COVID.
And that was a scary thing for me because I felt like every time I look up, they're like, "Oh, well, we'll give you money or we give you free food." Why are you not going to another person's community and saying the same thing? Why do you feel like we have to have money? Why do you feel like you got to give us hand me down and free food for us to take a shot? You
Exactly.
see,
Free Krispy Kreme.
free Krispy Kreme donuts. Really? So now you're trying to kill us with
Krispy
this bad
Kreme.
food? Yeah, they're giving out free food, but
$100.
you won't go to the suburbs and do the same thing. I can't imagine you going to Beverly Hills saying, "Oh my God, do you want a Krispy Kreme donut for the COVID shot?" Absolutely not. You see?
No, I do not. No, thank
I
you.
prefer a shot of Botox.
Me and you too. Me and
We'll trade. We'll trade the vaccine for some
we're so
for
stupid.
Botox, for a little touch up. Well, I will say that
Exactly.
I am vaccinated. I made the decision to get vaccinated because I was going to be around my mom, who's elderly. She's not, I mean, she looks great, but she's 77. And they were talking about if you're going to be around elderly people, then it was a good idea for you to be vaccinated. And I just did not want to be the one that brought COVID to my mom and then have that take her out, so to speak. So
And that's very responsible of you, Brenna. Like I understand where you're
two,
coming from.
I got 2 shots. And then after the 2 shots, then they had made the determination that they felt like, okay, we need to have you get a booster 6 months after your second dose. Well, I wound up getting COVID and I got the vaccine. And they were like, well, the vaccine is to keep you from dying and it's to keep you from having to be in the hospital. That was their response. I was really angry. I was really frustrated. I was like, why in the hell did I move forward with going and getting this vaccine? And I still got the damn Omicron anyway.
Wow.
And it's
Yeah.
just so after, okay, I understand, everybody had their own situations on why they took the vaccine. That's fine. My reason is totally, it's my decision. But I completely understand. However, it's like it's a vaccine after a vaccine after a vaccine. It's
Which
like
is why I have not done the boosters. I've not gotten the boosters. And now I have other medical tests and things that I need to have done. And because I haven't gotten the second boosters, I now have to take a COVID test before I have these medical procedures done because I'm not considered fully vaccinated at this point.
oh wow.
I've not gotten the boosters.
So even if you get
And in reality, we really don't know what we're putting in our body. And I know a lot of people may say, well, you don't know what you're putting in your body when you drink certain drinks or eat certain foods. You're absolutely right. But like you said, it's back to back to back shots, and you don't know
Yeah.
how that can affect you in the long run. You know, like right now, I'm looking at certain shots that I give my children, you see, because they're saying that there's certain shots. Don't know if it's true or not. I'm going to say it again. I don't know if it's true or not, but it leads to autism. You see, so we have to be mindful what we give our kids as well. We need to do our own research on it, do our own investigation on it. Just don't take the words of the doctors, because at the end of the day, a doctor is just like me and you, just with more degrees behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I have to say I agree with that,
Yeah.
because there are certain vaccines that you just don't know, and it can lead to something else.
Yeah.
And I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
So I do have a question though. How do we convince Black men to get regular checkups?
I mean, I think, one of the things that you can do is encourage the Black men that are within your family to get their regular checkups. I mean, before I married my husband, and he was in the Navy, it's like he had to get his usual checkups, like for Navy reasons, but that was kind of it. And then once he got out of the Navy, once he retired from the Navy, it's like he didn't really go to the doctor for a checkup. He wasn't really going to make sure that everything was good. And, I finally started talking to him about it and convinced him to go see the family doctor that I had been going to see. And that doctor did blood work, ran labs, and did all kinds of things, and was like, you're in pretty good shape, but you got to watch what you're eating, because your cholesterol is a little bit high and you want to keep an eye on that. And that's definitely one of the reasons why I wanted him to keep an eye on it, because his mom has had multiple heart attacks and multiple open heart surgeries for stents because of cholesterol blockage. So that's something I know that I need to watch out for him for, because it's in his DNA that he's going to be prone to having heart issues if he doesn't take care of his health.
Mhm.
So I think one of the things that you can do is to be, like I said, be encouraging to the Black men that are in your family, and start from there. Let's set that example, and then have that, them have the discussion when they're in the barbershop. Like, yeah, I didn't want to go to the doctor, but I went to the doctor, and like, this is what happened, and I got this checked, and like now I'm good. I found out that I wasn't breathing right because I have asthma, and I have asthma because I've been working on this construction site and inhaling, all this dust and all these things, and it caused an irritation in my lungs. Like, who knows? But that's something that is, we need to do more, and there needs to be more of an incentive for them to go get checked, and
Yeah.
not just go in the case of an emergency. We don't want you just going to the hospital when you're bleeding from a bullet wound.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. But I'm with you, Brenna. Encouragement goes a long way. And I was going to say as well, when you do your yearly exam, have him come along with you. Like, I know I
Mhm.
do mine once a year, and I always try to encourage my ex to come along as well. So when you do it, just tell him to, hey, babe, let's do it together. That's the only suggestion I can think of, to
Yeah,
encourage him to come with you.
because
I,
when you go, you might find that all they say is, "Oh, you just need to drink a little more water." It's
Exactly.
sometimes something.
Nothing too big at
you may
all.
just be
Hmm.
dehydrated.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But
But
nowadays when you go get checked, you have to ask um, doctors for certain things. They don't just in your physical, like a lot of stuff you think they should check for, they don't check for. HIV, they don't check for HIV. I found that out when I was getting my my pap smear.
It's
I got
not
everything
standard.
done. No, it's not. Um, you have to request it. So, but I do it every year because that's
so
just
when you
me.
get pregnant, they do that.
No, they
Yeah.
don't.
Yes, they
Not
do.
all. No, not all doctors. No, they don't.
To
You
me,
have
they
to. You
did.
have to. It
Yeah.
depends. Listen to this. It depends on what your doctor's office, who you go to. It's a waiver you have to sign. If you sign that waiver, which most of the time, 95% of the time, a woman will sign it because she's too busy trying to go through the paperwork. Yes, then you sign to get it tested. But
I
if you don't
signed.
sign that, That's what I'm saying. You have to sign to give the consent because of the HIPAA law. They're just not going to go ahead and do it. That's why, if you
Yeah.
notice some stories, there are a lot of babies that are born are HIV positive and the mom never tested. You see? And they
Mm-hmm.
went through their whole pregnancy because she didn't sign that form.
And they test for herpes as well, because if
They
you
they
have
do.
it having a
Mm-hmm.
natural birth,
Mm-hmm.
that can affect the baby's eyes if it
Mm-hmm.
passed through the
Mm-hmm.
birth
Well, they
canal.
do that. They do that at the end when they do the swabbing of your mucus to make. Sorry, look at Natalie's face. When they do the swabbing of the mucus, that's when you find out all of that. Yes. Natalie's looking like, what the heck are y'all talking
Oh,
about?
She said, "We talking about black men not going to the doctor. I'm not going to the
Somebody
doctor."
said that's all it took. My Black wife's encouragement.
Yeah. See,
Aw.
encouragement goes a long way.
Yeah.
yes.
But I also want to say that you should also remind them, hey, if you don't go, then you're not going to probably be here for the people you love. So you might need to go.
Mhm. It's better to know. It's better to be in the know than to not know your status.
Yeah, because you can't keep saying, okay, especially with, y'all go ahead and speak. I'm going to read this comment. It's very long. Go ahead.
Is it intense, Dominique?
Um, okay, it's in Spanish. It's very long though. But yeah, just reminding them, hey, if you don't, because men are very big on family when it comes to taking care
Mm-hmm.
of their family. But if you're not healthy, how could you continue to take care of your family? You see? So you have to go get checked. I believe in, getting health care. I do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And maybe if they promote positive health care for African American men, they'll want to go out and get checked more as
I,
well.
I feel also, Edwina, that some medical doctors are judgmental.
Mm-hmm.
So that can also push people away, especially,
Mm-hmm.
in the Black community.
No,
Like,
but you're right about that, Dominique. Because let me tell you, when I went to get my yearly physical checkup at my old doctor's office, she's Caucasian, nothing against her. She kept saying, "Oh, you're obese. Oh, you're obese. Oh, you're obese." I'm thinking to myself, okay, I know I'm a little thick, but I ain't think I'm like obese. Because when you think of obese, you think about
Yeah.
300, a little sloppy, a little stomach going down to your ankles. I'm like, I just got booty and hips. Like, how I'm obese? But then I switched up and I went to African American doctor. She was like, they don't understand our body type. Yes, you're on the percentage of being a little heavier, I like the word heavier than obese, by the way. But she said, this is what you need to do to try to maintain your weight the positive way. By her saying that in a different format gave me so much encouragement than saying, oh, you're obese. Because when I hear obese, it's like, let me just starve myself. I'm just fat.
No,
you
Instead of
know
saying
what?
that,
And
my
I'm glad
scale
you
is
mentioned
based
that,
on the.
because that could be another thing. Like, if we had more Black
Yep.
doctors,
absolutely,
Yeah.
maybe that
absolutely,
trust can be built, because they would kind of know your background.
Hmm.
absolutely.
And I was going to say that that BMI scale that they use for your weight to your height is based off of Caucasian statistics, a skinny white woman. It's
Yeah.
and it was
And I
done
and I and I'm gonna say this, I'm not
in the
skinny.
early 1900s. It's not done based on today's standard, and it's not done based on different builds. People have different builds. Some
Well,
people
they need to
are very.
change that, because they make me feel
They do.
real bad.
Yeah, because she was
I
like,
be
"You're
like,
obese. You're
what?
obese." I'm like, "I'm not. I'm thick. I got hips and butt. I'm not obese.
Okay.
Okay.
They need to
Yeah.
Let me
they
tell
need
you
to
something.
update
I am
that chart.
thick, thick.
Facts. Update it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Going to doctors that can relate with us and doctors that we can also relate to, it makes a difference. My OBGYN is Black and I love her.
Yeah, I
I
do too.
It
And
makes you
mine,
feel
she
more
she actually
comfortable.
encouraged
Honey.
natural stuff, natural herbs, natural fruit,
mm-hmm.
natural vegetables. Like she'll say, instead of getting like the vegetables in the bag, get the actual like vegetables, the fresh ones, and then steam them. You know what I mean? Like she encourages all that. You know,
Hmm.
so you need to find a doctor like that.
I
Yeah.
I was watching something about this doctor who actually gets on TikTok and she promotes good health for men because she's worried about men health and men not going to the doctors and having regular checkups. So she actually do TikToks and she dances herself off, but she got those words up there. And I was like, wow, that's a good idea. Everybody be looking at TikTok now. So everybody's very engaged in it. Well, most people are. You're not doing a TikTok, you're definitely watching it. So it's a good way to promote for Black men health.
Yeah. And again, like we are saying, if we have more Black doctors in the community that we can go to that can understand our perspectives and not be as judgmental as other doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I and then the encouragement that we do at home.
God
Bless
You
bless you.
too.
Thank you.
the encouragement that we do at home as well. I think Natalie needs to go to the doctor.
I know. After 3 times sneezing, I'm concerned too.
Woo,
She needs to
allergies.
go to the. I think she needs to go to the doctor.
I need
But
some
more Black doctors in our community, more encouragement to the Black men that are in our lives and in our families, teaching our children, good habits, healthy habits, and really teaching our young girls, let's not get overly concerned with this weight chart here, because I can really throw somebody off and have them in their feelings. And people get eating disorders and things like that from being told that they're too fat, and they're perfectly fine. They're a perfectly fine weight, they're a perfectly fine size, but either a chart or society has told them that they're too big, and they then start starving themselves and other things to lose weight the unnatural way. So
And Brenda, based on my height, they said I was supposed to weigh 120. Do you know how I look if I weigh 120?
Yeah, I would look like death. I'm not gonna
You look
lie. Let me
dry
tell you.
out.
So I remember I dropped to like 180. And everybody was like, is Edwina sick? They were calling my mom, Edwina looks sick, Debbie. She looks sick. Now I was 180. For me not to look ill, I have to keep it between 190 and 200. I hate to say it, but because even right now, I'm over 200. But when you look at me, I don't look like I'm 200.
And
You
that's the
see?
thing. Most people look
But if
better
I,
a little fuller.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But
Yeah, like
I can't be 120. Mm-mm.
I had dropped weight to like 140, and Lord, I was so little.
Yeah.
So just imagine 120. Y'all saw me. Just imagine
Mm-mm.
120. Like I really
Yeah. No,
oh
I can't. I can't because I'm 5'2", and I can't be that small. I would really look like death.
you are
I can't
not
be that
five
small.
two.
I am
No,
5'2".
you are not. I am not shorter than you.
Dominique, yes, you are. How you gonna tell me? I am 5'2".
We're
I
gonna
may
have
be
to measure
5 with
it.
heels on though, but that's another story.
I'm taught. No, you are not five. You are not finna
Yes, I
sit here
am,
and make
Dominique. You're
me
like
look like
five
no
feet.
midget. No.
Dominique, you're like 5 feet. Yes, you are. You're short. You
I'm
might
bringing
be
the measuring
4'9".
tape. Next time, I'm gonna just bring the measuring tape.
Yeah, please do that, Natalie. I just recently went to the doctor, so I know I'm 5'2".
She was
Okay.
standing up straight. Back to the wall.
I've been the same height since high school.
Oh
I
wow.
hate it. I've always wanted to be tall,
Somebody
and I just
lied to
never could.
you.
What?
I'm
No,
5'2".
you're not 5'2", Dominique. Dominique, you're like right at 5. Girl, stop
Okay.
lying. Girl, you're right at 5.
It's like right at 5, right at 5.
She's
You're
right
right
at
at 5.
5.
Of 2
Right
whole
at 5.
inches.
Look, if anything, I'm probably maybe 5'3", but I know I'm not because I just went to the doctor. She said I was 5'2". When I took off my sneakers, she said I was 5'2".
Somebody is laughing their asses off right now.
I know.
All right, y'all.
She's like, I'm not shorter than you. I'm not
No,
shorter.
you
She
are
done
short.
got
Dominique,
it.
out of all of us, Dominique is the shortest one.
Because
Nope.
I could have sworn I was 5'2".
No, that's in your dreams. You're not 5'2". You're at 5 foot.
We need
Maybe
to have a
4'9".
button. Another one.
Mm-mm.
Another one.
Another one.
Another one. Another amazing conversation, real chill conversation at that. We appreciate the continued support and everybody tuning in tonight. Thank you again, Brenna, Dominique, and Edwina. Make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, Real Chill Conversations. Subscribe
Yes.
to our YouTube and be back every Wednesday night at 8.
That's right.
Wrapping it up. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.